Hello, my heretical entrepreneurs. I hope you are all doing well and hanging in there. In these uncertain times, which we could potentially also call these highly stressful times, right? I am having more and more of an opportunity to notice how incredibly important play is. I notice that the more I play, the better I feel, and also the more productive I am. I am really getting an opportunity to recognize the value of free, creative, undirected, unpressured play as a true wellspring for all of the energy, all of the peace, all of the mental flexibility that is turning out to be helpful for problem solving, for stress management, for creativity, for business actions. Basically, everything that's good that's happening in my life, I'm recognizing comes more or less directly from play and having a place in my life where I can play. So I'm thinking, yes, play. It's the opposite of stress. It's very important. More play, less stress. Play makes the stress go away. This is wonderful. However, I then also noticed, it is hard to play when one's root chakra is freaking out, when we're in a state of crisis, when we're in a state of panic, anxiety, when we feel like we don't have enough. It's very easy to lose our sense of playfulness and just spend all of our energy worrying, freaking out, being upset. And, and then our root chakra says, and rightly so, how do you expect us to respond to these times? And so I ask you to sit with your root, with your, however you want to define that for yourself. If you want to think of it as your inside voice, or if you want to think of it as the part of you that freaks out, like whatever language works for you. But I invite you to sit with that part of you and have a conversation with it. And this is very important. Make sure that you let the root lead, or the inside voice, or the little part of you that freaks out, whatever you want to call it. Let that part lead. Don't talk first to it. This is because if you order it around, it's just going to get more upset. But if you have a conversation with it and really make it feel heard and appreciated and loved and accepted, then you can get somewhere. So when you have your conversation with it, the conversation will probably start with the root chakra saying something like, oh my God, I have nothing, I'm gonna starve and die in a garret, or like whatever your nightmare fantasy is. It's all about can't, fear, impossibility, stress, everything is awful. There's a sense of helplessness that can come from stress and a perception of lack that may be partially based on truth, but is also partially a story that we tell ourselves. It is a creation. So your job here is to listen to your root and sort of weed out the made-up story from the real, because there are some things we can't do anything about, but there are some things that become real because we tell them to ourselves. So how can we find those and tell ourselves something else? So first, again, as always, tune in, check in, calm down, feel your feet on the ground. There's my feet. Feel your butt on a chair if you're sitting on a chair. Take a few minutes, breathe. We'll do it together. And become aware of your whole body, bit by bit. And feel the breath moving through your whole body. And now tune in to that little voice that's giving you difficulty. And before you say anything to it, invite it to have the first word. Whatever it wants to say, however it wants to say it to you. Just be like, I invite you to speak. And do that for a couple breaths. And sometimes you really have to slow down your awareness and really tune in, really sharpen your antenna. And your job as the listener here is to listen with compassion, with presence, and with no judgment. Make your little voice feel safe and make it feel like anything it says is right and awesome. And often it speaks in a very tiny voice, so you really have to pay attention. Another couple breaths. Now listen in, and whatever story of fear, of lack, of anxiety, of not having, of helplessness, of powerlessness, like whatever story you hear yourself telling yourself, pause, take a minute, and first, before you make any kind of response, just take a minute and, in your mind, hug that voice. Hug the voice with all of your love. Take a couple breaths. Accept your voice, thank it for speaking, and thank it also for trying to keep you safe, because that's often where these thoughts come from. Like, oh yes, thank you for trying to keep me safe. I appreciate how much you love me. And then the voice might be like, you're welcome. About time someone recognized me. Then ask yourself, is this true? And ask yourself, do I know this is true? Then check in with your body and see where in your body does this idea, does this thought live? Do you feel it here? Do you feel it here? Do you feel it here? Do you feel it somewhere else? Feel that feeling that's causing you so much anxiety, and just check in, where in your body do you feel it? Couple breaths. And ask yourself, what is the nature of that feeling? What is the quality of that feeling? How would I describe that feeling? And then ask yourself, well, what if this story were not true? What if some other story were true? And sit with that for a couple of breaths and see how that feels. Do you maybe feel a sense of lightness or a different part of your body opening up? Try telling yourself, maybe another story is true. And really pay attention. See where in your body you feel that feeling. A couple breaths. Now ask yourself, what is another true story? But this time, instead of being a story about fear and anxiety, make it be a good true story. Sit with that for a couple of breaths. See how that feels. Feels good, eh? I know, I'm enjoying it myself. I'm like, oh yeah. Where do you feel this feeling? And what does it feel like for you? Then ask yourself, where could I go with this story? Ask yourself, what can I do with this story? And then to wrap things up, ask yourself, what is a practical, concrete action I can take today to make this new good story come true and feel true in the real world around me? Couple breaths. Do you have an answer? When you have an answer, thank your inside voice and notice how it feels now. You have hopefully shifted from how you felt in the beginning to a more peaceful, productive feeling now. And it's all because you took the time to listen to yourself, embrace yourself, and check in, find out what's right for you. Find out how you feel in your body, and from there, develop practical ideas for how to move forward. Thank yourself. Ground, that means like feel your feet, feel your butt. Come back into this world, look around, be so glad if it's a gorgeous day out like this. Please get outside. Good luck. If you want to work with me, message me at jordanadelfeld.com and be of good cheer.